vision that was planted in my dreams within the sound of silence. In restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of Paris.
Hey, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? I'm told it's March 9th, which has got to be fantastic for one reason or another. My name is Jabari, and this is Chatman Booth. You are watching Chatman Booth. I'm the Chatman, Jabari Morgan, at Chatman Booth, ChatmanBooth on Twitter. Give me a follow. Now, it's I guess it's St. Patrick's Day next week, like around the time you're seeing this episode. My God. Now, I have had some wild call a priest, can't look your mother in the eye for a couple of weeks St. Patrick's Days, but none of them have been in Boston. I had a St. Patrick's Day in Portland, Oregon with Mary Cameron. Mary Adair, I know you're watching this right now. That was interesting because you said to me, you called me up on the phone, you said, hey Jabari, I want you to drive up, how the hell long was that drive from Arcata, California up to Portland? It's maybe a 5-hour drive, 6 hours. You said drive up, and I have this thing we're going to do for St. Patrick's Day. And you know I have complicated feelings about Oregon because in Oregon's original constitution, it said we're not going to let black people live here. And if you examine that huge flood, that fire catastrophe, in that makeshift town they built for that corporation, like Oregon has a very unusual history with African Americans. Unusual because the story reads like something in the deep antiquated South, but it's more recent than that. And yet, as a boy, I always wanted to move to Oregon. I always wanted to live in Oregon. And my mother, who I talk about too much because Dr. Freud. My mother, an interesting, complicated woman who raised me in what I consider to be a cult. She had some pretty interesting and phenomenal philosophies and ways of thinking and modes of operation in her life. And one of them included, and I wholly endorse this, I'm not sure that I'm going to have kids, because if you have kids, it definitely means you have to reincarnate right away. But if I have kids, one of the things that my mother did that I'm going to do is my mother, who had a job for Continental Airlines, and this was back in I'm not going to tell yous, but this was back in a time where, like, if you're going to fly, you're going to wear a tie. And so I get on planes now, and I see people in sweatpants, and I'm like, oh, God, dude, that's awesome. I don't mind taking off shoes on an airplane. Lately, people have been really upset about taking off shoes on an airplane, but they say shoes and socks. I think on an airplane, you just take off your shoes. They're swelling, that's fine. You take off your shoes and your socks. Well, they got Dante levels of hell for people like that, evidently. You know how you like your name, and you got a good name, and you think, oh my God, it's kind of like a James Bond name. Like if you say my name, Jabari Morgan, just right, oh, it's a hell of a name. Now my next guest, when you say her name, you go to the cinema. Ellen Goldhammer is her name. Left a little sweetgrass is burning. Now, Ellen is one to watch on social media. Ellen Chalot. We'll figure it. We'll get to her social media handles. I can't quite carry the one. I'm very bad at math. But yeah, my good friend Ellen is here, and we're gonna have a great time together. Ellen Goldhammer, welcome to Chatman Booth.
Thank you. So happy to be here.
It's fantastic to have you here. You look amazing.
Oh, stop it. You always say that.
Well, it's
you
always
spoil
true.
me with compliments. Oh, stop.
It's always true.
I can't accept a compliment. You know me. I'm probably not even showing up on the screen right now. I'm sorry.
I can't stand compliments either. We have a lot in common that way. Like for two people that are so amazing, to be so shy is just the gods and goddesses having a great laugh. Now, okay, great. Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome.
How? Thank you for welcoming me. Where do we begin? But you're so mesmerizing. My first question went right out of my head. But my second question is, who in the world taught you how to apply makeup to your eyes? Because it's just
Who taught me how to apply makeup?
phenomenal.
Honestly, if you want the honest answer, no. I did this all by myself. No inspiration, no help. I don't know.
On the streets.
Yeah, I did this at work today, actually, in my desk.
We're considering giving a name to our talks here, because, I like seeing Ellen, and I think you're going to as well. So we were communicating via the Electra netaweb earlier this week, and I thought
and strings.
we should. I prefer the telephone, and I thought let's call this Happiest Hour.
Absolutely.
With Ellen and Jabari, or Jabari and Ellen.
It's your show. You get to keep that.
Can I get first billing? Happiest
Absolutely.
Hour with Jabari and Ellen, because
Absolutely.
I've been thinking back to just childhood and how very long I've been watching talk shows, and I've been thinking about how to this day, like 2 days ago, Stephen Colbert broke his Lent promise. Jennifer Lawrence was on the show, and he's just like, what do I got? I got some rum. They poured some rum, they drank some rum, and that interview was outrageous. And so I thought to myself, well, why don't I have a little something like that? I'll have a little something like that. I'll have a little happy hour. And we've had several happy hours together, but this is one right now.
The happiest one. Absolutely.
Happiest hour. I'd like to see. I had meant we got started a little late, but had everything been going according to schedule, I meant to take you to the cupboard. Is there a different word for cupboard on
Pantry?
the East Coast?
Pantry.
Yeah, I meant to take you to the cupboard or East Coast pantry.
I'm from the Midwest.
I'm from the Midwest too.
I don't know.
But
I don't know East Coast vernacular.
Who considers what to be Midwest? Because I'm from South Dakota, and that's West, but it's also Midwest.
I'm from Iowa, the most Midwest of Midwest.
I'll agree with you there. But
Thank
you
you.
know what kind of irks me?
Tell
Is
me.
when people from Ohio tell me they're from the Midwest. And I'm like, mother...
I have to disagree with you completely. I went to college in Ohio.
You think Ohio's the Midwest?
Absolutely.
It's right next to Pennsylvania. It's right next to the East.
No.
Sorry? That's not where Iowa is?
No. So, okay, maybe this isn't going to resonate to people, but did you in like a geography or social studies class ever learn about what was his name? Mimel, the chef who makes the Midwest?
You are clearly describing a Muppet.
No, he could be. No, so
Mimel?
if Mimel, M-I-M-A-L, if you look at a map of the United States, and you look at Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, it forms a chef. And Iowa is the head, the face of the chef. Minnesota's the chef hat, and then
does it look like a chef's hat?
Oh my god!
and the
Can you
chef?
put a graphic on right now?
We're gonna have to try.
Absolutely.
We'll get
And then
on
if
it.
you look at Tennessee and Kentucky, Tennessee is the pan, and then Kentucky looks like a piece of fried chicken. So it's like the chef, Mimel, is frying chicken, and that's how you remember the states of the Midwest, because we're overlooked in so many other ways.
Okay, so you would submit that the Midwest begins in Iowa.
I would submit
Where is
because Kansas is west of Iowa. So I would say I don't know if it's a geographical separation, but if you say a state, I'll tell you what region I consider it to be.
So one of the greatest T-shirts I ever had, and I wore this T-shirt when I was touring with the Children's Theater in my mid-20s.
Mm-hmm.
It was a yellow T-shirt
Of course.
and with green writing, and an image of the state of Nebraska was on it, and the T-shirt announced a fact that none of us knew.
Mm-hmm.
Nebraska, more corn than Kansas.
The Cornhuskers. Yeah, that's a very well-known Midwestern fact. Their number one college are the Cornhuskers. It's their mascot.
I'm kind of a big. I like the Gophers, the Minnesota Gophers. Okay, so back to the Midwest. Do you have any Great Lakes memories? Have you ever been? Have your toes
Oh,
or
absolutely.
fingers ever touched any Great Lakes?
So the city that I'm from, Dubuque, Iowa, it's about 2 to 2.5 hours outside of Chicago, which is right on Lake Michigan. So at least once a month in high school, we would do our rebellious road trips up to the big city and go to Navy Pier, like on Lake Michigan. So they're definitely, when I lived in Ohio, I went to Cleveland and Cedar Point, which is on Lake Michigan. No, I just said that. The other lake.
Huron.
Erie, Superior. Oh, Superior. Maybe it's Superior?
Superior, Huron, Lake Michigan.
Erie.
There's
a fifth.
oh.
Canada? Lake Canada. It's a thing.
Yes.
Look it up,
Definitely.
Internet.
Yeah, look it up, Internet. Look it up yourself, Internet. It's time you do
Look
this
up
work
Mimo
for
the
yourself.
Chef and what lakes he touches.
So it's very interesting to be
Ontario.
Lake Ontario.
Hey, that is Canada. Technically,
Canada.
Yeah. That is Canada.
Suck it, Lake Havasu. How in the world did you end up from the Midwest out here?
So I grew up, like I said, born and raised in Iowa, and then I moved to Columbus, Ohio, to attend Ohio State University when I was 18 or 19. I had lived in Iowa City before that. I moved out when I was 17, and I studied sports management. So I've always wanted to work in a professional sports atmosphere.
Amazing.
I did that a lot in Columbus. I worked for a couple teams there, then moved to Indianapolis, and my end goal has always been Boston.
What genre of sports?
NHL, MLS, MLB, just kind of. Those are the 3 big leagues I've done, and then I've done minor league hockey, minor league soccer, but my end goal has always been Boston because this is the best sports city in the world.
Yes.
The passion here among fans, growing up somewhere where Iowa doesn't have a single professional sports team. Fun fact. No league, no anything. So I'm a Packers fan. My mom is a Vikings fan. My brother is a Bears fan.
I like your mother.
And so,
I like your brother.
Carla, shout out. And so just there's no
Packers.
continuity within the passion and like the region of who you're rooting for. And so I wanted to come somewhere where
and that's so lonely. Like in South Dakota, you're either a Broncos fan or a Vikings fan. You know, I'm a Vikings fan myself, but it's really weird not to have a professional sports team.
Yeah,
it's like you're an orphan. You're a sportsman.
Yeah, exactly. Just waiting for someone to pick me up and adopt me and tell me that they love me and they support me and they want me here. That was a projection, sorry. So yeah, I've just always wanted to be out here and working where it doesn't matter the day of the week, you're going to see 8,000 Red Sox fans on the street. You always know what you're getting into with the scene out here because everyone is so passionate. And I think a lot of people look at Boston as a very ostracizing city. Like if you're not from here, you're not welcome here. They're very centralized in themselves.
Yeah.
But
a lot of people do look at it that way.
Yeah.
I don't. That's
either.
Not been
and
my
as
experience
a sports fan too, you're immediately engulfed and welcomed into that culture here, and it's just beautiful to me. So that's how I ended up out here.
I feel that the exception to the rule is the Patriots. So I'm in Massachusetts. I'm African American. I'm closer to the end of my 30s than the start. I like I grew up liking the Bulls, and then maybe for a teeny tiny bit it was the Lakers, but I like the Celtics a lot. The Red Sox, I got a big affinity for the Red Sox. I got a brother who's a Twins fan. It's been wonderful to watch and be a fan of those sports. Mm-hmm. Now, in Massachusetts, as an African American and as a gay man, this is the safest, happiest I've ever been. With the exception of, there have been situations where I've been like, hey, anywhere else, in the continental 48.
Yeah.
If I were to be overtly black or overtly gay right now, I get my ass kicked.
Mm-hmm.
Not true in Massachusetts.
Right.
True in Massachusetts is in this situation, if I demonstrate that I am not a Patriots fan,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get my ass kicked. These Patriots fans are
Crazy.
out of conceit.
I went to my first, it was my first ever NFL game this year.
Oh, you did?
I
haven't done that yet.
I went on
I've
Christmas
been to
Eve.
hockey, I've been to basketball,
Yeah.
I've been to baseball. I haven't been to an
I
NFL
went Christmas
game.
Eve, and it was...
Who do they play?
Jesus, I don't know. The Jets, maybe?
Oh,
I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. Or they
I
just
love
come from
sticking
there.
it to guys from New York.
Oh my god. Right. That's a whole nother conversation. But... but it was insane, and so being from the Midwest.
You went to Gillette Stadium.
Yes, I did. I've always grown up in a Big Ten culture where like college football is number one. It's unrivaled. University of Iowa gets number one like parties in the country a lot of years, just for its tailgating. And so to come here in the East Coast, nobody tailgates for anything, and I was like. Very excited.
Then describe what is tailgating.
Oh,
I suppose it means something different to everybody.
It means that there are 15 uninterrupted blocks of parties and food and alcohol, and you just make do with what you have. My first time I ever tailgated in Iowa City,
How old were you? Jesus.
I was 15.
Oh my gee.
And I had a box.
Where did your parents think you were?
At my friend's house. I don't know. I was the worst to my mother in high school. I was such a bad person. I repent for it now. I'm sorry.
Okay, so what is tailgating? Describe
this is the most relative thing I can say. It's my first time tailgating.
Sorry for the noise.
I had a box of Franzia. Of course.
Yeah.
Right? Refreshing white, if you ever need to know. And I took, you know how in your house there's always that ball of red fuzzy string?
Refreshing wife. That was my ex-wife's.
Refreshing white?
No, I didn't know
A palette changer, if you will, for you.
Oh, yeah, sorry to interrupt.
No. But I
hour.
took this red ball of yarn and I cut it and I looped it through the handle of the Franzia and wore it over my shoulder and told everyone it was my briefcase.
Happiest hour.
The happiest hour.
The happiest hour.
Besides all those
Quick.
mental questions you asked me that made me reconsider my entire life. What? Where do I start with that? Tom Cruise has a tooth in the direct middle of his face, which haunts me to this day. I saw Valkyrie and it ruined my life. I dropped out of college as soon as I saw it. Nicole Kidman.
All that sand? I loved all that sand. Tom Cruise and sand?
What?
Tom Cruise
Was the
and
movie
sand.
called Sand?
No. He in Valkyrie, in the beginning of Valkyrie, there was a lot of sand.
I couldn't get through it.
You couldn't get through it?
It was so boring.
So sometimes when something happens and Tom Cruise gets really dirty, I think about bathing him. This is not... I guess we don't have that in common.
Nicole Kidman was great in Moulin Rouge.
She was great in Far and Away.
With the swans. With the geese? Yeah. Oh my god, I watched it in my lit class in middle school. She's like Irish and chases geese on a farm for a living, basically.
Yeah.
And baby Anna
Who
Paquin.
does that?
Is it
Everybody
baby
that wants to.
Anna Paquin? Is their child?
Oh my god, yeah.
I think
Shit,
she
I forgot
is.
she was in that.
Yes.
Holy shit, great callback.
It's like Peter
Great
Gallagher and while you were
callback. We're on the pillows, by the way. We're what did we decide to call
It's
this?
Pillow Talk.
It's Pillow Talk
Because we're sitting on pillows
with
and
Ellen
talking.
and Jabari because we're sitting on pillows.
Shocking.
We're
We're very creative.
We are. So I'm attempting vaguely to say goodbye to you and to close off the segment, but my God, what should we? You're gonna come on again, though, right? We're gonna make this a regular thing.
You tell me.
I am telling you in that case.
I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah. We're gonna
Call
do
me
it.
Jennifer Hudson.
I don't get jealous of people very often. I used to.
You're jealous of Jennifer Hudson?
No, I'm jealous of you.
What?
Because you've got a fantastic hair toss. Your hair
Oh my
toss
God.
game.
I
Yeah.
touch my hair when I get nervous, as I'm sure will be documented for years to come
For
now.
the eternity
Because I'm
of
literally just
eternities.
sitting here like, is it okay? Like, what am I doing? Like, God, I hate my hair.
So this has been the happiest hour.
Yeah, we definitely had
Ellen and
minutes
Jabari.
within the hour of happiness. You got a little aggressive at some points about.
Didn't I just?
You pull at my heartstrings every time we talk
Oh,
because
thank you for
you
saying
hold
that.
me to a regard that I don't deserve to be
No,
at.
you're a goddess. You're a goddess. You're very special.
Just
and
because as a Virgo, the House of Venus or whatever fucking thing.
it's more like when I feel like I'm not going to experience any more joy under any circumstances. When I just write off my day, when I write off my week, and I happen to encounter you, everything just
It hasn't been
gets
in so
better.
long. How can you say that?
That's for you.
Oh, I thought. Oh.
No, it's
That's for you.
It has
Happy
been a long
hour.
time. It has been a long time. It's been a very long time. It's been a very long time, and we
Way
are.
too long.
Okay, so to wrap it up, thank you.
No, thank you. Don't thank me. It's a pleasure to be here.
I mean, and so
I love Grace and Frankie.
yeah, Frankie and Grace.
No.
It's Grace and Frankie.
Ellen and
Grace
Jabari.
and Frankie.
Jabari and Ellen. Ellen and Jabari.
Frank and Gracie.
Gracie and Frank. Max and Ruby.
Frankie and Gracie.
What's happening here?
Ashley and Mary Kate. We talked about
Ashley and Mary Kate. Go.
Ashley and Mary Kate.
Go for it.
Trademark.